Hello and welcome to the Game Lore Archives. Today we start our research into the Third Era, which is super exciting as this is where the majority of the games take place, meaning that we have a lot more detail and a lot more relevant footage for these episodes than we previously have. And I thought I'd kick off this area really differently, and that's discussing the 3 Elder Scrolls Travels mobile games,
which are Stormhold, Dawnstar and Shadowkey.
We've grouped the 3 mobile games together in one episode. However, in both Stormhold and Dawnstar, the date they're set is never really mentioned.
Not even the era is mentioned either.
Shadowkey, however, is set in the 397th year of the Third Era, and we can theorise that the other Travels games are set in the same period thanks to 2 bits of evidence. First one, every other Elder Scrolls game at this time was set in the Third Era when they were released. And 2, enemies known as ice tribes are only found in Shadowkey and Dawnstar, and they're never mentioned or seen again. So if Shadowkey is set in the Third Era,
makes sense that Dawnstar is.
And then if 2 are, the third one probably is. Yeah.
Fair enough. As we're unsure of what order the games take place in the Elder Scrolls timeline, we will cover the games in order of their release, which means we begin with Elder Scrolls Travels Stormhold, the first ever Elder Scrolls mobile game, released in August 2003. Stormhold is unsurprisingly set in a town called Stormhold.
Technically under the town of Stormhold.
Stormhold is located in the Black Marsh, and the footage on screen is the town as it appears in Elder Scrolls Online. In typical Elder Scrolls fashion, the game starts as your character is thrown into prison, who is run by a man named Quentin Varus. The prison warden has devoted the last few years of his life finding a long-lost relic called the Storm Crystal, which comes from an ancient unnamed religion.
Now, the specific religion it comes from is never really made clear in the game. However, only 2 possibilities make sense.
The first theory is that the Storm Crystal belongs to an old Argonian religion, or depending on the relic's age, it could even belong to the Argonian progenitor race, the Zanmir. The evidence to back this up is the location of the crystal. It's eventually found in the game, meaning it was buried deep in Black Marsh. The other issue with this theory is there isn't any other evidence to back this up.
Which means the second theory is most likely, and what we think to be true, as there's a lot more evidence backing it up. We believe that the Storm Crystal is an old Ayleid artifact. The crystal is similar in appearance to a Welkin and Vala stones that are found in Ayleid runes throughout Cyrodiil. They also act in a very similar manner. Vala stones absorb and store magic, and then can be used to restore a person's magicka. Welkin stones do exactly the same, but are weaker and can't store as much magicka. Or maybe the other way around. Is Vala the bigger one?
I think it was the Welkin stones were the small ones, and I'm sure the Vala stones were the ones that they used to power their runes and things like that.
Yeah, I'd possibly put them the other way around. And then there's also the Great Welkin stones as well. And in comparison, the Storm Crystals can store and cleanse the corruption and evil in people. In the game, multiple items called Hollow Crystals can be found, and they also cleanse and corrupt on a weaker scale. And the last bit of evidence is the location of the town itself. It might be in Black Marsh, but as you can possibly see by the Elder Scrolls Online footage, Stormhold is built on top of Ayleid ruins, and as you're under it, makes sense you're in ruins.
After learning what the Storm Crystals were capable of, Quentin Varus hatched a plan to store all traces of evil found in the Imperial Empire and destroy it, becoming the Slayer of Evil.
And yeah, he even started calling himself that before the plan had been done.
He thought this would gain him fame and fortune. However, this innocent enough plan soon became corrupt. The Storm Crystal had sat near a prison for so long that the corruption it had absorbed could not be held any longer, and has started to overflow into the surrounding area. While Vanus searched for the crystal, his close proximity to it eventually drove him insane as the evil seeped into his soul. When he still could not find his prize, he forces the prisoners to dig new tunnels in search of the relic, making them work at unhealthy speeds. As the prisoners dug, they too became corrupt, attacking each other and mutating into monsters. The warden tried to cure them by using the hollow crystals he found along the way. However, the spread of the corruption was too fast to be cured, and soon almost every prisoner became insane.
Now, as Joe mentioned earlier, the game starts as the playable character is thrown into jail.
Who we will refer to as the prisoner from now on.
There is a small site, which is safe, with a few sane prisoners who will help train him, and one which will heal him and sell things to him. They all trade in hollow crystals, the main currency, to protect themselves from insanity. The prisoner is told about the warden and resolves to stop him from hurting anyone else, so begins to explore the tunnels for the storm crystals. As he explores the passages, the warden's slaves open more tunnels to explore. The prisoner manages to catch up with the mad warden in the nick of time and walks in on Quintus Varus standing over the storm crystal. The prisoner attacks Vanus using the equipment he found in the tunnels and eventually manages to kill him, emptying the last of the corruption from the crystal into his corpse as he passes away. Using the now empty storm crystal, the prisoner uses the relic to clear the evil from the prisoners and the area, allowing them all to be released from jail happily ever after.
The next Elder Scrolls Travels game is called Dawnstar. Released a little over a year later in 2004, this game is set in the city of Dawnstar, surprise surprise, and the footage that you can see is from Skyrim. The city of Dawnstar is being attacked by the Ice Tribes who live in the surrounding area and keep attacking the city, navigating their way past the city's defences with ease. It soon becomes clear to the town's governor that one of the 4 town champions is betraying the town. To stop the tribes attacking, the governor has had to banish all of the champions, but of course that leaves the city without a capable warrior to defend it when the Ice Tribes attack next. And so the governor has hired you to find the traitor, to bring the 3 loyal champions, and then to help them defend the town.
Unfortunately, we'll never know who the guilty champion is from a lore standpoint, as the guilty champion is randomly generated at the beginning of each new game. However, the 4 champions' names are Chung, Delacrux, Beatrix, and Alavara.
The town's healer and oracle named Eutasia is able to see events without being present for them. She provides the player with insight of what the betrayer is up to. It's then up to the player to go to the champions and collaborate their stories. It soon becomes apparent who's lying, so you reveal the traitor to the governor, who rewards you with a powerful sword known as Starfrost. The 3 innocent champions then return to defend the town's perimeter, and you stand ready to kill anything that slips past them in the Ice Tribe's final assault. The assault's final wave is led by the tribe's leader, a powerful creature known as Genoth Thriceborn. When he is killed, the town is saved and the game is over. Now, there isn't much information on what the Ice Tribes are. The most common belief is that they're an early iteration of the Falmer. As both games, they appear in a set in and around Skyrim. However, since Falmer are featured in Skyrim with a very uniform greyish skin tone, I don't think this is necessarily correct. More likely is that they are early alterations of the Reikling, who live in similar areas and also have blue skin. Or even another possibility is that they are the Kamal of Akaviri, or at least some sort of descendants of them.
And that brings us with the last game we'll discuss today, Shadowkey, which, unlike the other 2 games, actually has quite an in-depth story instead of a pretty simple, go here, do this, and it's done. It even introduces a new kind of magic known as shadow magic, and we haven't mentioned it before. So before we discuss the game's events, I feel like we should talk about what it is. It is quite confusing and not really explained perfectly in the game, and it's not really in any other kind of lore, but I'll try my best. So the first Shadow Mage was named Azra Nightweld, who discovered that shadows are not caused by the lack of light like they are in our world, but caused by the conflict of forces in alternative universes. So these conflicting forces can be pretty much anything, such as the force of a light hitting a tree, or something massive like the force of 2 armies at war. Shadows of these conflicts then reflect onto parallel worlds around them, and these shadows can be manipulated to change the forces that it's mirroring.
And because everything seems to make some form of conflict, everything can be manipulated, including time itself, which means that the power of shadow magic can potentially rival that of the Elder Scrolls themselves.
So there's a few spells that we know of that are all exclusively in this game. The first one is Shadow Gates, which you can keep something locked behind and can only be opened by a shadow key. Shadows can be used to weave powerful items into existence,
Which is like a permanent conjuration spell.
A powerful enough Shadow Mage can also summon different versions of himself from an alternative reality. And it's also very possible that the Nightblade class on Elder Scrolls Online can use Shadow Magic, as it does mention that Nightblades do use them, and of course they have a Shadow skill tree, although that could just be a coincidence.
In Shadowkey, the game begins with the village of Arza's Crossing,
which was named after the first Shadow Mage Arza Nightworld lost control of a spell and created a huge crater in the middle of the town.
Bandits have raided the town during the night and kidnapped some villagers. The hero,
who, to make the game a little easier to explain, I'm going to refer to him as Bono, because it stands for bloody original name, no?
Fair enough.
Well, he's not named, and he has an unknown race or gender, just like every other Elder Scrolls game. But whereas normally in lore they're referred to as the prisoner or the champion of Cyrodiil or Dragonborn, he doesn't have anything.
He actually has nothing.
So I'm going with Bono.
Bono.
Because why not?
Bono goes to the hideout, slaying the bandits, and rescues the town citizens. He also releases a captive named Skelos Underil, who is not from the local village. Skelos explains that he was captured by bandits whilst fleeing from Jagatharn.
Jagatharn is of course a very evil and powerful mage who is the main village of Elder Scrolls Arena, who will discuss it more in that episode.
Skelos asks you to clear out Earth Tier Gardens. Earth Tier Gardens? I just completely made that up. Skelos asks you to clear out the Earth Tier Can I say
caverns? Earth Tear Caverns.
Skelos asks you for the 7th time to clear out the Earth Tear Caverns.
Caverns? Come on, man.
Oh, jeepers. Skelos.
I think you should leave this in.
Skelos asks you to clear out the Earth Tear Caverns.
Hey! Which is a homestead in Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what's being shown on the screen now.
Bono clears out the caverns and finds a strange crystal within them. He touches the crystal and shadows move over its surface, cracking the crystal in two. A voice echoes from the shadows saying,
"Interloper, neither key nor Azora's handiwork are for you. What you take from him today, later I shall take from you thricefold."
Bono doesn't have a clue what's going on, but he feels like the mission has been completed. When Bono returns to Skelos, Skelos reveals that he is a shadow mage, and that he's trying to prevent someone using the ongoing war to create a shadow conflict big enough to summon a powerful creature known as Umbra Keth.
It's never stated exactly what war they're referring to specifically. It's during the Simulacrum, a time where many wars took place thanks to Jagatharn being in charge. The most likely contender of the exact war is the War of Bendermark, where the Nords of Skyrim fought the combined forces of Hammerfell and High Rock in an attempt to claim back any land that they'd lost in the previous eras.
Skelos fears that if this creature is summoned, then Jagatharn will gain control of the creature and use it to kill innocent people. He asks Bono to find 5 star teeth, which will help contain the creature.
Star teeth are made from ethereal fragments which sometimes fall to Nirn. When unrefined, they make sky shards like you find in Elder Scrolls Online. The Aelids commonly use these fragments to make various artefacts such as Welkin and Vala stones, and probably the Storm and Hollow crystals we mentioned earlier, and they also mentioned the Star Teeth. It was always suspected, and it was confirmed in a dungeon in Elder Scrolls Online where you find some Star Teeth.
Nice. He believes the first 2 teeth will be found near the Twilight Temple and the Witch Tree. Which tree? I don't know which tree.
As in Cackling Witch,
Witch
Tree. And we're kind of unsure what the Witch Tree is.
That's my point, which tree?
Yeah, but it's a talking tree, which is fairly rare even in the Elder Scrolls universe. It just rocks up and you have a chat with it.
Oh, nice.
Like, while the histories of Black Marsh are certainly sentient, they can communicate with Argonians, they can't talk in the way the Witch Tree does. which means that it's either the same type of plant as the brackenleaf in Valenwood, which is one of their great trees, which is found in Elder Scrolls Online, or it was planted using a seed of brackenleaf. But when Not the Singer Bono finds the witch tree, it offers the hero a Startooth for completing 3 tasks. These tasks are all about helping other travellers out, and luckily take place in the Twilight Temple,
which happens to be the location of the second Startooth.
The Twilight Temple is full of zombies known as Dawn and Dusk zombies, but they can't be killed normally, and you need to learn a technique from the Dawn and the Dusk scroll, respectively. While searching for these scrolls, a scroll with the only explanation of shadow magic in the entire game appears.
Chosen to explore this relation of world to shadow, Aedra was the first to realise that shadows were not a mere absence of light, but a reflection of possible worlds created by forces in conflict. A light strikes a rock, and a shadow is a record of their clash, past, present, and future. Other conflicting forces produce less obvious shadows: fire and water, wind and rock, or even nations at war. With skill and patience, the shadows of all could be read and patterns teased out, emphasized, or eradicated. Manipulating a shadow could, through contagion, manipulate the object or force which cast it. Aedra was eminent master of this nearly imperceptible magic. Aedra attempted what had never been done before, manipulating his own shadow to such an extent that he instantiated and melded all possible Aedras at the same time, crossing over from his singular existences in shadow. Ignorant Redguard soldier, fearing the power of Aedra should he succeed, trapped and confronted Aedra. The battle did not go well for the wizard. The hole blasted when he lost control of his magics can still be seen at the village that bears his name, Aedra's Crossing. The Science of Shadow lost a great man that day, although others, such as Pagan Asul, strive to take his place.
After learning the techniques on the scrolls and clearing the zombies out of the temple, Bono runs into a man mentioned in the scroll, Pergal Asul. Pergal attacks on sight, and once he's killed, melts into a pool, saying,
"Once is done, but thrice has been foretold. But I have taken measure of your power, while you do not even suspect the measure of mine."
Whatever that means. And once Twilight Temple is cleared of enemies, and everyone in there has been helped, the hero returns to the Witch Tree, who gives him the last mission to earn the Startooth, to go into a citadel known as Broken Wing, who is run by bandits, and rescue their captives. Each of the captives seem to not really be innocent civilians, however, and are there with a purpose which he helped them with. One of the captives is hunting an assassin who slaughtered her family. The killer, whose name Perseus, can be found deeper in the citadel. Once he's killed, a Startooth is found on his corpse. Once all 3 tasks are completed, the Witch Tree will then give you the second, or well, now third, Startooth.
Which means after Bono got the first 2 Starteeth, he continued his travels until he finds Snowline Village. 2 officials can be found here: an Argonian named Paulis Caith and a Redguard named Tanyan Aldware. Both of the officials are on opposing sides of the war without knowing it and do not trust each other. The town itself is plagued by goblin attacks, so Bono heads to the nearby goblin caverns. She kills all of the goblins, including their leader, who is guarding a large crystal and a shadow key. When the shadow key touches the crystal, it cracks open, releasing a mage trapped inside. The trapped mage is Aedra Nightwield, the first shadow mage. Aedra connects his shadow to the heroes, allowing them to communicate over large distances. With the goblin threat neutralized, the hero returns to the village and lets Paulis and Tanyan know the mission is completed. Tanyan thanks you and returns to the city of Dragonstar, requesting that you meet him there. Paulis, however, has a second mission and asks you to infiltrate Lakvan's stronghold and find evidence of Imperial spies in the area.
Bono gets a lot more than he bargained for when he arrives at Lakvan's stronghold. He does manage to find a ledger which shows the Empire paying Lakvan large sums of money for killing Hammerfell natives.
Which means the Emperor which means the Empire backing the Nords in the war, meaning victory would be difficult, if not impossible, for Hammerfell.
However, to get this ledger, he must search long and hard. While searching, he opens a chest and finds both a shadow key and a third star tooth. He uses the shadow key to open a nearby shadow gate and comes face to face with Pergan Asul again, who he must defeat for a second time. When Pergan lies dead again, Bono takes the ledger back to Paulis, who heads for Dragonstar City also. Azra contacts him via mind shadow powers and asks him return to Azra's Crossing before he heads to Dragonstar City.
In the starting town, Azra talks to the hero about destroying Umbra Keth and the Star Teeth. He reveals that there are not 5 Star Teeth, but 7, and all 7 will be needed to be taken to the monster's home, a hidden vault in the Crypt of Hearts. The Star Teeth will then need to be used to weaken the creature so it can then be harmed. He hands you a Star Tooth he has in his possession, and tells you that he knows a Star Tooth can be found in Glacier Shrawl. He then heads to the Crypt of Hearts so you can help defeat the Shadow when you arrive. Bono then heads to Dragonstar City.
Dragonstar City,
which you can see on screen from ESO,
is a major city in the area of Craglorn, and it's a small region situated between Hammerfell, High Rock and Skyrim. The city has been affected by the War of Ban Makar, more so than any other. The territory disputes that sparked the war run straight through the city, and so it's now split into Dragonstar West and East, which is also why I believe it's that war. The west side is run by Red Guards, and Dragonstar East is controlled by Nords. Bono enters the city using its western entrance, and he meets Paulis Caith, who wants you to find out if the local Thieves Guild,
which is situated on the eastern side of town,
shares his cause against the Imperials. Usually, access to the eastern side of town is prohibited. However, a guard recognises Bono as Tanyan Adwin's friend, so grants him access. When you meet Tanwyn, he offers a Star Tooth to help his friend escape from prison. The man is freed without too much trouble, and the Star Tooth is handed over. Next, he finds the Thieves Guild, and the leader passes the message that the guild's sympathies lie with Paulis. When Bono returns and passes the message on, Paulis asks for aid in destroying a bandit base run by a man named General Duvas, hidden in Lochnar Caverns. He offers the hero a Star Tooth in return.
Lochnar Caverns are filled with the ghosts of all the pilgrims who have been killed by Nords during the ongoing conflict. The ghosts ask Bono to bring them peace, so as he fights the bandits, he also searches for a way to release the pilgrims from the afterlife. Eventually, he kills General Duvas and finds a ring that allows him to release the pilgrim spirits. When he's done, he returns to Paulis and collects another Star Tooth. He then heads for Glacier Crawl, as Azra told him, to find the last and final Star Teeth.
Glacier Crawl is swarming with ice tribes.
And yes, they are the same ice tribe that were attacking Dawnstar in the other Elder Scrolls travel game.
And he finds a chest with the final and brightest Star Tooth along with a shadow key. This key shatters an icy wall, revealing the wreckage of a huge airship. The ghost of the ship's captain is still in the vessel, and the vessel apparently chased the Star Teeth, and they were spread out of the area when it crashed. Armed with all 7 Star Teeth, Bono finally heads to the Crypt of Hearts to challenge the last corruption of Shadow, Umbra Keth.
The Crypt of Hearts is a 2-part dungeon found in Elder Scrolls Online, so that's what we're going to put up on screen now. When the hero enters the crypt, he finds the caretaker who has locked himself away to stay safe from the undead who have risen. When Bono helps him escape, the caretaker tells him that the Vault of Heavens is on the middle floor, and it's their Star Teeth that can be placed to create a powerful enchantment to weaken the monster. However, Umbra Keth must be led to the vault, as the enchantment will only be effective on that room. The beast itself is on the lowest level of the crypt. As the hero finds the entrance to the bottom level, Pergan Asul appears, stronger than ever, and after a long fight, Pergan lies dead for the final time. The hero finally descends to meet Umbra Keth.
Now, it's quite interesting that they say it's an enchantment of the Star Teeth, but actually the Elder Scrolls Online says that they don't actually have any magic in them. Star Teeth just generate light, However, that is
100%.
probably he's a creature of shadow, which is why light
Yeah.
weakens him. Umbracath waits in the crypt, melting into the shadows unharmed whenever Bono tries to strike him, and then launching powerful attacks from every shadow. Bono runs back to the Vault of Heavens, and the beast follows. Once the monster has been lured there, he places the star teeth into holders around the vault, and the teeth begin to emit a light. And when the final one is put into place, Umbracath materialises, with no shadows to hide behind, but 3 times bigger than you've ever seen him before. The battle is of course long and hard, but eventually the shadow monster lies dead at the hero's feet, unable to be used by the nefarious Jaeger Tharn.
And that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. We have recently updated our Patreon page, so if you want to support the channel, please check it out and subscribe for weekly videos. We will leave you with this final question. Do you think we're right when we said the Ice Tribes are the Reichling, or do you think there's something else? I thought they could be descendants of the Kamal, and I know the most common theory is that they're the Falmer, so let us know which one you think's right.
And we'll see you next time.